Hi, my name is Jesslaine. I am going to be teaching some more of geometry. This is parallel lines cut by a transversal. This only works when the two lines are parallel and cut by a transversal. It does not work if the two lines are not parallel. Okay, so two lines that are parallel and cut by a transversal, and we're going to talk about the different vocabulary words first. So we have two parallel lines and they're cut by a line that we say is called a transversal. So in this case, this right here, this line that cuts the two parallel lines is called the transversal line. Okay, it creates these type of angles. If I say interior, so interior would be in between the two parallel lines if we're talking about the interior. And then exterior would be on the outside of the parallel lines. So, be on the outside of the parallel lines there. So the interior is in between the parallel lines and the exterior is on the outside of the parallel lines. So in this case, the transversal starts to create these different types of angles, and we're going to talk about them. I'm going to draw this a little bigger. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you notice, I've numbered the angles. So first of all, the first type of angles we are going to talk about are vertical angles. So vertical angles, just know that they are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. And an example of vertical angles here are 3 and 2. There's a lot of examples of vertical angles, but 3 and 2 we are going to say. So vertical angles, they are congruent. So they are congruent. And then an example is angles 2 and 3. So vertical angles are angles that are straight across from each other, okay? So 3 and 2 are vertical angles. 1 and 4 are vertical angles. They're straight across from each other. 5 and 8. And I think that's 6 and 7. 6 and 7. They're all vertical angles. So vertical angles are congruent. If I said 7 was 50, then 6 would have to be 50 as well. But vertical angles are straight across from each other. Okay, let's talk about some more angles. Let's talk about alternate interior. Remember how we talked about interior means inside the parallel lines. So alternate interior, they are also congruent. And an example here would be angle 3 and angle 6. So alternate interior, angle 3 and angle 6, they are inside the parallel lines and they are on opposite sides of the transversal, alternating. Like, think of something that alternates, okay? It goes up, down, so they have to be on the opposite sides of the transversal and they're alternating. So 3 and 6, 4 and 5 would also be alternating interior angles. So if I said 3 was 20, 6 would also have to be 20. Some more. Now we have alternate exterior. Remember when we talked about exterior means outside the parallel lines. So alternate exterior, outside the parallel lines, they are also congruent. And an example of those would be angle 1 and angle 8. So angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior. So 1 and 8, they are on the outside of the parallel lines, but on different sides of the transversal. 7 and 2 would also be alternate exterior angles, congruent. Again, if I said 7 was 50, then 2 would have to be 50 as well. Now corresponding angles. They are also congruent, okay? An example here would be angle 2 and angle 6, an example. So here, angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding. So corresponding angles are in the same position of the other angle on the same side of the transversal. You see how it's above this parallel line? It's above this parallel line here on the same side of the transversal. So 2 and 6 are corresponding, 4 and 8 are corresponding, 1 and 5 are corresponding, and also 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are congruent as well. So let's talk about same side interior, or also they're called consecutive. So same side interior or consecutive interior, they are what you call supplementary. If you haven't watched the supplementary complementary video, go and watch that. Supplementary means adds up to 180. So for example, here, angle 3 and angle 5. Okay, angle 3 and angle 5. So they are same side interior or consecutive interior. So they're on the same side of the transversal and they're interior. Angle 5 and angle 3, or angle 6 and angle 4. They're all same side interior. So if I said angle 3 was 50, then angle 5 would have to be 130, right? Because 130 plus 50 is 180. So they're supplementary, they have to add up to 180. Another one is same side exterior. So same side exterior, they are also supplementary. And for example, angle 1 and angle 7. So same side exterior, 1 and 7, or 2 and 8. They are also supplementary, so also add up to be 180 degrees, and exterior outside the parallel lines. And then last is what we call adjacent. So adjacent means side by side, and adjacent angles are also going to be supplementary. And for example, angle 1 and angle 2. And we noticed that angle 1 and angle 2 form a straight line, so we know from our supplementary video that supplementaries lines are supplementary, are 180 degrees. So if the angles form a straight line, then we know they're supplementary. So 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 2. There's a lot of adjacent angles. They're all supplementary. They all add up to 180. So those are the different types of angles. So we're going to do a little problem here. Let me draw this. My little puppy. Drawing, so 120 degrees. Oh. We're supposed to figure that out. Okay, so angle 1, oh no, I just got it. Okay, so given just that one angle, I should be able to figure out all the other angles. Okay, so I'm going to start with saying, oh, vertical angles straight across from each other, they are congruent. So that angle straight across from it is 120 degrees because they're vertical angles. Now I can say, oh, alternate interior, they're congruent. So 120 degrees, and this one, that's alternate interior, 120 degrees, so this one right here is also 120 degrees, alternate interior. Ooh, I can say corresponding angles. So over here, the angle that corresponds to 120 is right here, 120. I can also say it's 120 because of vertical angles, but 120 degrees. So all of those angles are 120. Now I have to start thinking about how can I figure out the other ones? What about adjacent angles? We know adjacent angles are supplementary. So 120 and this one are going to add up to be 180. So 180 minus 120 is 8 to 2. It's 60, right? Yeah. So 60 degrees. So that one is 60 degrees, and now I can start doing this. Oh, vertical angles. It has to be 60 degrees too. Oh, corresponding angles. 60 degrees, 60 degrees. They are congruent, so that has to be 60 degrees. Then I can name that last one by several others. I can do consecutive interior and do 180 minus 120, or I can just do vertical angles, which is easy. So vertical angles are congruent. Anytime the ones that you can use that are congruent angles, they're gonna be the easiest. And there you have it, folks. We can do that. Okay? Okay, thank you for watching transversal lines, parallel lines cut by transversal.